guys very much, man. You guys are awesome. We love you.
Yeah!
So in 1976, I played with Rick Derringer. I did 3 albums, 2 studio albums, and 1 live album, which Rick kind of got pissed off because I said I was leaving, so my picture's not on the album. That's called musical politics. And if you get in the business, this shit goes on, and it's so stupid. It happened with Black Sabbath as well. On the Live Evil album, we were breaking up, and instead of Ronnie James Dio vocal, it says Ronnie Dio. And he hates that. And then it said Tony Iommi, he's a butler, and then they put me on the bottom. Special guest. Like, special guest in the catering truck. Vinny Appice, spelled wrong, I-E-S with a Y. So this goes on all the time. Anyway, Rick was a great guy. He heard me in the studio at Record Plant Studios in New York City. My band was managed by that studio. And we used to rehearse there all the time. And then we did demos with Vinny Appice, who did John Lennon, and that's how I got hooked up with John Lennon. Actually, on the way to the airport, I heard Holy Diver on the radio. I went, yeah! And then I heard a song by John Lennon called Whatever Gets You Through the Night. And that's me and my band doing hand claps when I was 16 years old. And then I was 40. I was doing like 110 to get to the airport, but I'm so late. Anyway, so Rick heard me play. He went into the room. I wasn't there, and he asked Jimmy and V, who's playing drums? And that's Vinny Appice, Carmine's little brother. That's what I was known as back then. Carmine's little brother. And then I saw him in the hallway a little later on, and he said, hey man, I'm putting a band together. Why don't you give me a number? I'll call you in about 6 months. That's what happened. I gave him my number, and then he called 6 months later at my mom's house, and I was in Louisiana playing with a band called Axis.
Yeah!
Right? Three piece band, fun, great. So he calls my mother and says, hi, this is Rick Derringer, I want to speak to Vinny. She goes, oh no, you must want to speak to Carmine. No, I want to speak to Vinny. No, Carmine doesn't live here now. So she kept thinking he's calling for Carmine. This is when my career started. And then finally, oh, Vinny, and then she gave him the number in Shreveport, Louisiana. That's where we were playing. He came down, heard the band, took Danny Johnson on guitar, me on drums, went back to New York, Kenny Anderson on bass, and we did the albums. So if it wasn't for Rick, I probably wouldn't be here tonight. I might be making sandwiches in the catering truck. But, and it's really sad that he passed away. He was a great guy. And working with him was a true professional. Every night he did a solo, and it was right on. He never had a blip, no problem, no errors, nothing. So I learned from the best, and from Rick we played clubs, and then we did, I'll tell you a story, when we played clubs, I look at the bill, I go, who the fuck is this opening? Tom Petty in the Heartbreakers?
Yes!
They'll never get anywhere with a name like that. I was a young punk from Brooklyn, right? And we opened up for, we were on the same bill as Journey, Derringer Journey, before Steve Perry. And then we opened up for Boston, then finally we opened up for Aerosmith on the Rocks tour. So, I learned a lot of shit. And went in with my eyes open, learned from Rick and how the sound is different in the clubs than from the arenas and all that stuff too. And anyway, this goes out to Rick. We didn't really rehearse this, so I know the song, but these guys will probably mess it up. So anyway, this goes out to Rick Derringer. May he rest in peace, one of the greatest guitar players. We love Rick.
Chicago!